What's going on, y'all? I'm Czar, and in this video I'm going to show you a technique for getting separation in your tracks when you're mixing, and specifically I'm talking about separation of tracks that are sharing the same frequency space. Now this is taken for granted that you haven't tried panning, because that is the quickest and easiest way to get some separation, is to pan two tracks different ways. But if you've done that and you still need to get some separation, you can try this technique, and it's called inverse EQ. And so I've got a Pro EQ here and a Pro EQ here on both of these tracks. These are Rhodes that came from the Thunder Rhodes, which is a new sound pack from PreSonus. If you're a Sphere member, of course it's free. You can go in your account and download it now. But basically what I'm doing with this technique is I'm cutting on one track, and that same frequency that I'm cutting on one track, I'm boosting on the other. So here's an example of this bypassed, and here's the Rhodes without the Pro EQ. All right, I'm going to turn on the Pro EQ now to get some separation in these two tracks, and now this is what it sounds like. All right, so now I'm going to show you how you can do this with some other plugins without having to change it on two separate EQ plugins. So let's bypass the Pro EQ, and now we're going to look at Neutron from iZotope. This is Neutron Advanced, and you see I've got Rhodes 1 on the left, and we have Rhodes 2 on the right. So this has the invert feature built into it. We're just going to, on this drop down, select Rhodes 2, and then we're going to click inverse down here, or inverse. And now what I cut is going to boost on the other one, and what I boost is going to cut. So the one on the left, we are going to cut, let's cut about 6 dB. I think we're at about 800 hertz. Yeah, that'll work. All right, let's take a listen to this now. Let's turn it on. All right, so we're still getting our separation, and those orange parts or sections that you see there is showing me where a masking between these two tracks is occurring. So that's how you can do it there with Neutron. I've got another example of another plugin that you can do this with, and that is sonnox Claro. So here's two instances. Here on the left we have the Rhodes track, and on the right we have the other Rhodes track. And the star that you see here is going to represent which one it is focused on. So what we are going to do is take the second track, just drag it down here, and again we've got the invert EQ option here, and with that selected, now what we boost will cut in the other one. And actually, you know what, really we could do away with this, because this one instance of Claro is controlling the other instance on the other Rhodes track. So I'm seeing the EQ for both tracks within one plugin GUI, which is nice. So this one, yeah, we were cutting. So we're cutting on the first one, go back around our 800 hertz. And again, we're basically cutting 800 hertz on one track, but boosting it on the other. All right, and this is what it sounds like on sonnox Claro. And just remember what it sounded like with no processing. I'm going to turn on Claro one more time. And if you pay attention in this middle here between them, the yellow or orangish sections that you're seeing light up, that is showing signs of masking or frequency clashing on Claro. I'm going to play that one more time. All right, so it looked like it was showing some masking down here below 250 hertz. But there is the technique called inverse EQ. You can just do this with any EQ plugin just by boosting and cutting the same frequency, or boosting the frequency on one track and cutting that same frequency on another track. Or you can use one of these two plugins I showed you here that will do it for you. Of course, I'll have a link for Claro as well as iZotope Neutron in the description if you want to check that out. If you like this video, I appreciate a thumbs up. If you want to continue to see content from me, then you know what to do. All right, any questions, comments, let me know, and I'll catch y'all next time. I invite you to check out my podcast, the Faders Up Podcast, a podcast about pro audio and beyond. Season 3 is now underway, and in this season, we'll be doing a lot of topics requested by listeners. So if you have a topic you want to hear discussed on the podcast, email us, DM us, or join us in our Facebook group, Faders Up Podcast, and let us know. And if you haven't checked out the podcast yet, I have a link in the description that'll take you to the page.